Okay, shall we start? Yes. Okay, great to meet you all. My name is Jaesung, and I'm from Samsung SDS, Seoul, Korea. And I arrived last night around 8 p.m. And this is my first time to visit Dubai, also Middle East. And I think it's really great to visit here. I think I already love everything about Dubai. Yeah. Thanks for giving me this wonderful chance to share my experience. Most of you might be Agile consultant or Agile coach or developer, product manager, but since I'm a designer, so I will talk slightly different what you usually see. And I'm going to talk about how Samsung SDS applies user-centered practice into the team level and enterprise level, and what benefit did Lean and Agile bring to them. This is not a principle or guide. This is my experience and my story. So let me briefly introduce myself. I've been working on a digital product for all over the industry like e-commerce, logistics, retail, healthcare at a Samsung SDS for the past 9 years. I was design lead at Agile team called ACT, and I've trained around 20 designers about Lean and Agile practice. Currently, I'm the design lead of Samsung Group Wear Service. It is one of the biggest enterprise communication and collaboration service. Over 400,000 employees use this service, and over 1,000 million emails were sent and received every monthly via it. Imagine, what if we can reduce just 1 second when sending an email, it can save more than 155,000 hours. That will be amazing. This is the reason why I focus more and more Lean and Agile. Build, measure, learn to deliver valuable design and product to the users. This is really worth to have it. My company, Samsung SDS, is pure software company, and it builds mobile app, web application, and also doing cutting edge stuff like AI, blockchain, kind of things. Samsung SDS has been doing extremely well in the Korean market. I think that is a problem. We were really good at maintaining it instead of innovating something. But a few years ago, we realized something different happened in the market. Customers have been changed, and we had to listen to our customers' voice and respond quickly. We were not able to respond quickly to change it. And also, we had some internal problem. The organization is structured in a silo, and the hierarchy was too strict. And also, we had strong leadership and speedy execution. It used to be a really good one. If someone said one direction, we rushed in that direction faster than any other. I want to share our journey. Let's go back to about 10 years ago. There were some pioneers in Samsung SDS, and we adopted Agile practice and tried a lot. The very beginning was refactoring and Kanban and kind of things. Those practices began to work in a development team. It was quite meaningful progress internally. Samsung has been through this journey as you did. However, you might be wonder what happened to the design field in Samsung SDS or Samsung. At that time, I was one of the designers at the design team, and I worked with development team. And for me, what was Agile? To be honest, that Agile was just Kanban or sticky notes. maybe Agile something was just the developer's story. Then, how was the design side? In order to make our users happy and also to satisfy them, we try to make our design thinking process. You might be familiar with this kind of double diamond, and it was good process for the designers. So let's take a holistic view. In the design side and the development side, we did our best effort in each given condition. We've got some achievement internally. So we were quite happy. From a designer's view, designer did user research and we made interactive prototype and created beautiful design. From a developer's perspective, they did test code, pair programming, refactoring, and kind of things. So both of them were quite happy. Then what about our real user's view? Yeah, the software market is getting faster and the user satisfaction threshold is getting higher. Sometimes the wrong product was delivered to the users. Although each team's goal was clear, the design and development activities were working in a silo. Each team had their KPI, and each had to deliver meaningful product quickly to the user. Then, how did we make our users happy? We made a balanced team, focus on collaboration, consistent communication, and transparency in working toward a shared goal. Valuable product. It is ACT, which is Agile Center of Excellence in Samsung. I'd like to show you one video. Probably some of you might feel this is normal. Every year doing this. But I have to say, this is the first time in Korea. No other company does this until now. Please watch this for a while. It's 4 minutes.
평소와는 조금 다른 모습으로 하루가 시작되는 이곳은 바로 삼성 SDS Agile Core 팀이 일하는 곳입니다. Agile Core 팀은 다양한 웹, 모바일 소프트웨어를 개발하는 팀으로 실리콘밸리의 Agile 방식을 도입해 혁신적인 업무 방식을 실험해 나가고 있습니다.
우리가 그동안 맞다고 생각했지만 좀 여러 가지 제약 조건, 또 조직 간의 여러 역할 문제 때문에 쉽지 않았던 문제들을 좀 더 극단적으로 한번 변화를 시켜봤을 때 과연 기존보다는 더 나아질 수 있을까라는 것들을 한번 시도를 해보고 여러 글로벌 회사에서 저희가 또 기회를 갖고 일을 하게 됐을 때 그렇게 일하는 것들에 대한 인사이트를 듣고 실제 경험도 같이 하게 됐고 그거를 SDS 안에서 한번 시범적으로 진행을 하게 됐습니다.
과연 이곳에서는 어떤 실험이 진행되고 있을까요? 프로덕트 매니저, 개발자, 디자이너. 기존에는 각각 독립적으로 일했던 이들이 애자일 코어 팀에서는 한 공간에 모여 함께 일을 합니다. 팀의 모든 구성원들은 공동의 목표를 가지고 제품 개발 초기 단계부터 끝까지 전 과정에 참여하며 긴밀하게 협업하는 거죠.
이전에는 부서가 다르기 때문에 뭔가 잘못되면 내가 잘못한 게 아니라 저 부서에서 필지를 안 줘서 안 된 거야. 저 부서에서 처리를 안 해줘서 우리가 이런 거야. 이런 게 있는데 그런 게 없이 같은 목표를 가지고 있기 때문에 누군가 잘못되면 우리 전체가 잘못된 거다는 시각이 있기 때문에
사무실 곳곳에서 목격되는 색다른 풍경이 있습니다. 두 명이서 나란히 앉아 같은 화면을 보며 일하는 모습이 마치 교실 안의 반짝처럼 보여지는데요. 이렇게 둘이 짝을 지어 페어로 일하는 모습 역시 애자일 코어 팀에서는 일상적인 모습입니다.
개발하는 사람은 어떻게 보면 그 개발하는 그 텍스트를 치는 그 부분에만 집중을 한다면 옆에서 보는 사람은 전체판을 계속 볼 수 있으니까 뭐 계속 그걸 줄 수 있어요. 그래서 코드 품질이 계속 좋아질 수 있어요. 네. 어떻게 보면 코드 리뷰라는 걸 하루 종일 할 수 있다.
물론 이런 업무 방식이 처음부터 좋기만 한 건 아니었는데요. 하지만 직급의 차이를 뛰어넘어 자유롭게 묻고 답하며 함께 답을 찾아가는 과정을 통해 얻은 것이 더 많습니다.
처음에는 조금 낯선 그런 게 있었는데 질문을 계속 하지 않으면 서로의 생각을 맞추기 되게 힘들고요. 또 질문을 하면서 모호했던 점이 풀리기도 하고요.
혼자 생각만으로 개발을 할 수가 없어요. 같이 이야기를 통해서 내뱉으면 생각이 정리가 되면 그 정리된 로직을 같이 구현을 하게 되면 후배한테도 선배한테도 무조건 배울 점이 있어요.
이러한 과정은 대개 1주에서 2주 안에 이뤄지는데요. 불필요한 기능 개발에 허비되는 시간을 줄이고 전 과정에서 고객의 검증을 거치다 보니 개발에 소요되는 기간이 짧아진 것은 당연한 일.
저희가 지속적으로 검증을 할 이유는 그만큼 실패를 빨리 하기 위해서고요. 뒤에 제품이 나오고 나서 사용자들이 우리가 원하는 가치가 아니야, 우리가 원하는 제품이 아니야를 듣기보다는 우리가 초반에 이니셜한 아이디어부터 기획부터 프로토타입부터 고객과 만나면서 그들이 원하는 가치나 그들이 원하는 제품이 맞는지를 확인하기 위해서 끊임없이 반복적으로 만나고 있다고 보시면 될 것 같습니다.
기존의 틀을 벗어난 새로운 시도는 양질의 소프트웨어 개발이라는 결실로 이어지고 있습니다. 고객에게 가치 있는 제품을 적시에 출시하기 위해 업무의 모든 것을 변화시킨 애자일 코어 팀. 과연 이들의 변화는 어디까지 계속될까요?
애자일은 지속적으로 나아지는 겁니다. 그러니까 어제 했던 것보다 오늘 무엇인가 나아진 것을 추구하고 실험해보고 그리고 뭔가 부족한 게 있다면 새로운 방법으로 또 도전해보고 그것들이 뭉쳐져서 점점 나아질 수 있는 개인 그리고 팀 그리고 전체 조직이 될 수 있다고 믿거든요. 저희가 시작점이 되고 싶은 욕심이 있습니다.
All right. So from here, I'd like to talk more about the user-centric approach and in a balanced team, what we did. So I think the most important first step in Lean and Agile UX is persona. I'm really wondering if your persona is okay. So do you familiar with your persona? Or do you remember your persona name? No? Okay. So I think you might be thinking like that. What can I do more with my personas? We already have several personas and those picture things that designer sent me last year. So maybe somewhere. So once I had a persona at the project. To be honest, at the time, I didn't memorize the name of the persona. And we made it and we used once to report our result. That was all. If the designer was like this, then what about developer, PM, or other team members? In the team, the persona may be abandoned or stored as stored as output somewhere. This was our previous persona. Then how to apply persona to our team? Let's talk about Agile persona. First, make it together. We try to include developer, PM, stakeholder in the process of creating initial persona. Before inception, all team members may have different information about our target user. Designer knows maybe quite well because they did quick user research, and PM, product manager knows some. They understand business domain, and devs don't have any idea. It doesn't matter. Make it together with that much information. From now on, persona come into the center of the team. In order for whole team member to use persona, they have to believe in them and feel invested and have ownership over them. If not, they will have no understanding of the purpose behind. This is at least a way to start focusing their conversation on a target user. The team should on the same page on the user. Why making persona is so important in our team? This is how many projects start like this. Everybody said there is a problem, and then we all know how to solve it. I know how to solve, you know how to solve. But in their head, everybody got different things. Different target user, different solution, different way of approaching. So, first thing we need to start getting our team focus is that we together articulate our vision and goal. Then, as we are having conversation, as we are discussing these target users, problems, ideas, as we are bouncing around back and forth, as we are iterating on this, we start to build a consensus. And this consensus that comes from developers, from designers, from customers, from stakeholders. It's like this. So, this is what I think one should do. In the early stage of the project, we have very basic level of persona. Yeah, each proto-persona. Our persona should be added and refined based on iterative research. And it has to become more robust and concrete. Wow. Yeah. With your insight. Whenever we learn something new about our user, we should add it or change it. I have experienced the perfect persona that was once created, never changed. We tend to regard them as untouchable because we spent lots of time and effort. We must flesh out our persona with detailing elements gradually. The important thing is that our persona must be alive and evolving more and more like a real character. Once we made persona, then we have to use it very actively. Use them in a scenario and workflow and design review, user story, so on. Let me share our team's example. We have very important ground rule when we do the design review with the entire team members. So we always welcome any of comments, feedback, idea about the design. But no matter what kind of opinion you insist, that should be your team's persona's opinion, not your own. During the design review session, this is quite open. Everyone said, what I think the function is not necessary because I don't use it that much, or what I think that feature is not that good because I don't like it. So then we suggest, why don't you change it to the perspective of our team's persona? We communicate as persona's view rather than our own view. This leads an important difference. We have our own preference and stereotype so that affects what we decide or what we communicate. Therefore, it is possible to minimize the unnecessary debates by bringing the persona into our conversation. And it helps make the right decision quickly. One more tip. Make your persona visible and accessible to everyone. I find that working with visible persona is very beneficial to our team. We draw our persona on a big whiteboard so that everyone can find easily. It's useful not only for designer, but also all team members, all stakeholders. Let's talk about our user research. Oh no. Have you participated in any usability test or user research? We all can be designers. I hope and I want. But each role has their job. It is not that easy in a large company. If we cannot all be designers, what we can do at least is trying to understand why they design it and modify it in a certain way. For this, we do the collaborative research. Here's how we do it, how we did it. One of developers or product manager participate in usability test with a working software or prototype. If possible, let the all team member attend it at least once. Sometimes they can be an observer or scriptwriter. Every member can play quite well. You might be surprised about that. And this can have much more powerful impact on them. That is motivation. After participating usability test, they become powerful product evangelists. They get to see their development decision in action. And in usability testing, they get to see where the product is causing frustration or delight, and may have good ideas about what they could do in the code to make improvement. And they can be more flexible about changing their code. I'd like to share one experience to show you what those brilliant efforts can achieve. We built a product for kids with Angelman syndrome. We had a chance to meet one mother about 2 years ago. She has a 17-year-old son who has genetic disease, Angelman syndrome. It's really painful disease. If I simply explain what it looked like this, you have a son or daughter and having just 1-year-old intelligence for their entire life. They don't talk. Their expression shows only 2 things, smiling and crying. If you ask question to them, it goes like that. What do you want to eat? Do you want to eat banana? Do you want to eat candy? So if they smile on you, that means yes. If they cry on you, that means no. So we saw the pain, and then she asked us to build one app. Even if there are many AAC apps in the market, those were very difficult to use. So we need to make one the simplest one ever. After 4 months engagement, we launched the product called Angel Talk. This is our use case. How Jungmin is using it.
정민이 필요한 거 엄마한테 얘기해. 뭐가 좋아요?
He is looking for something.
싶어. 또 바나나 달라고.
Give me a banana.
먹었는데
Yeah.
또 먹게?
You already have it.
그만 먹자 바나나. 이제 그만 먹고.
He is asking about banana and mom said, you already have it, so it's enough.
정민아 바나나 그만 먹자. 응? 놀이하자 놀이.
Why don't you play something?
바나나 그만 먹으면
Give me a
안 돼?
banana.
바나나 먹고 싶어? 알았어. 엄마한테 바나나 달라고? 그럼 기다려. 기다려.
So
알겠어. 기다려.
wait a
엄마가
minute,
줄게.
I will give you
기다려.
banana.
정민아 바나나 가져왔는데.
So here is banana.
아이 좋겠어. 너무 좋아. 알았어. 얼른 먹어. 얼른 먹어. 네.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, fortunately, this application won World 3 Best Design Award, and its great achievement as a designer But more importantly, it was a chance to persuade the organization through the awards. We were able to show how the product we create can transform users, transform organization, and transform company. Let's talk about another things we should do as a designer. We started to focus on what designers can do well. That was visualization. This is our stakeholder map. As you can imagine, Samsung has very complex organizations. And we have many organization, division, teams, and internal, external stakeholders, so on. This is our reality, and we need something not to fail. So when we start project, we analyze stakeholder by interest and influence to identify key player and avoid time waster. We cannot consider everything. We need to know who we should focus on the most, and we should know how to put our energy to go forward effectively. So, this is how we do it. At first, add all team members and their manager, their boss, and their leader, internal, external stakeholders. List all people who have impact and influence on the project, and connect the relationship and analyze them. Lastly, find key players and engage with them continuously. This is our user map. We need to understand various users' behavior, workflow, relationship, task, and so on. So, and also how to communicate, how often do that, where do they do it. With this information, we make user map. You might be thinking like that. It's quite similar with the service blueprint or journey map, but it's more focused on the various users' relationship. So we can define our primary user, and also we can define our project MVP scope. It helps to build consensus by making the detailed information about users and product visible. The last one is prototype. Whether it's our customer, stakeholder, or decision maker, we are diligently trying to make them our supporters. Normally, we make prototype for users. However, I'd like to talk about prototype for our internal stakeholders, devs and leadership, because one picture is worth 1,000 words. Communication through tangible and visible design prototype is much more powerful than feature list or UX documents or report to get a perfect consensus. I know this is not necessary for every team or company, but as a large company, we need to make additional effort to make a consensus across multiple departments. So now, I want to turn to more procedure approach. So far, I talked about some low-level tasks designers should do. This is our design thinking and agile landscape map. We've applied the various practice through many years. Some parts were well matched and became stronger, and some parts were disappeared. And this is visualization of our current workflow and practice. Let me briefly explain about this map. At the beginning of the project, designer, product manager, and some of the developers has discovery and framing phase to make key scenario and key screen based on our happy path. It just takes 2 or 3 weeks. We called it happy path track. After this phase, sprint 1 starts. In the big circle, there are 3 small circles, which is our design, product, development. It works systematically like a gear. However, it is difficult for an enterprise level project. We had large scale project, and in this case, we did different process. We need more solid journey for the sprint zero. When I first adopted Agile process in my design team, many designers said about rushing in limited time. Sometimes they miss the big picture because of the limited time. And the compressed time forces a designer to abandon user research or degrade the resulting user experience. So we set the enough space for the sprint zero. So we had the team spend the proper time to think for the right direction of the product and let the designer one step ahead of the sprint. This shows the overall structure change of the organization at Samsung SDS. In the past, we started with this kind of length-driven organization, and we were organization silo. Yes, we invested a lot of effort for the transformation, and it was process-led transformation. Then we adopted Agile in part. We did just team-level Scrum. And it did not last long because we've not touched the human resource and structure, and we wanted to spread beyond the team level. So we did team-led transformation. It's not just design team and not just development team. So we built a balanced team across functionality. The team start having ownership, and we let the team figure out what they need to build. And also, we've touched 5 things: leadership, strategy, structure, process, people, to change overall the company. But it's still part of the large company. We have many conflicts with other teams inside the company. Employees were familiar with the old structure, and they didn't want to change their process, their behavior. So we start to focus on a culture. I think we are on the way of progress of culture-led transformation. Today, I shared our journey to make good product with a Lean and Agile. Wow. Here are some take-home messages. Okay. I think Agile never succeeds by simply embracing good practices and methodologies. We must try various attempts and find what is right for us. I think Agile is creating their own culture. Culture has to be constantly changed and developed in their environment rather than stagnant. Agile at Samsung is still not enough, and there are lots of issues to go through. So it is more important how the team members feel the changes and what experience they are having during work hour, rather than how well they keep the Agile process. Every organization has their context, environment, structure, and process. You need to define your Lean and Agile way and focus on your people and culture. The last thing I want to say, designers are used to being heroes, solving very difficult problems with a beautiful design. It was designers' role in the past, and I think we are still doing it, but more important role is to lead a team, to lead the whole team, to have empathy for the users. I've talked to many developers in so many organizations who have no idea why they are building feature and product. Designer share experience and understanding of users to the team. Designer can bridge between user and team members to understand each other, what user want and what team can do for them, and let them go forward without any confusion and ambiguity. And lastly, increase team members' morale. It allows team members to feel like they are part of a creator. Let them feel like they are building a valuable product to the customers. I think it is really important designer's role. And we are still doing this Lean and Agile UX journey at Samsung. Thank you for listening. So, do you have any question?
One question, but not related to this. Who designed icons for this Android Pie new version? For the settings view. Because the last one was very, yeah. The last version was like, the icons were very, very nice, and the settings especially, like, this one is like,
Okay,
that's my feeling.
Okay, I got it. Yeah. And
My question is around the transformation. So how did you tackle that? Did you start with certain departments or functions, or was it on the whole organization level and then you had all departments collaborate? That's one. And the second part of the question is you talked in the video, we saw some, in some parts they were talking about the resistance or some obstacles or hurdles that they faced, and then how did they overcome it? So if you can just talk us through that as well. I can rephrase the question if you did not fully.
oh, okay. Please one more time.
Okay. So for the second part, I mean, when the agile ways of working started, I mean, in the video I noted that they had some sort of maybe resistance or some sort of obstacles or hurdles faced that it required some time to overcome, and then they continued with that ways of working. So if you just can elaborate a bit further on that.
Elaborate?
Yeah, explain a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, we tried many attempts to agile transformation, and then we still have lots of obstacles and barriers in the team. So, but we try to focus on the people at the first. So at the first, we made really small team, and then it's like a cell. I mean, it's copied with another team and another team. And then we have another approach that is kind of top-down approach, and we had process and some of sponsorship from the leader. So actually, that helps to move fast. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So actually, I think we tried both of sides. I mean, the bottom side and top side. We tried both sides together, and then I think, actually, I'm a designer and I more focus on the users. So it's more like bottom-up side. So we try to change people, and we try to change their behavior and thought. So it took lots of time to change them, but I think it's worth it. Really, it has really value about their changing. And also we tried lots of top-down process, like we made some structure. So actually, we have lots of agile coach in every session. So they guide them and then they teach them, but sometimes we help them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.